Welcome back. You're watching Newsbreak with me, Sanket Upadhyay. Are health drinks or health supplements or health products that brand themselves as something which is a healthy option for you, for your body, really speaking the truth? There is a massive debate which is on in the country over a big brand being in a soup over sugar. So let's first explain what has happened and then we'll get into the larger controversy. So we are quoting now, as of this moment, this controversy between Vita as well as a social media influencer. This is excerpts from a report from the Indian Express as well as the Economic Times, where a social media influencer reviewed the health drink Vita, reportedly. The influencer reviewed the ingredients present in Vita, which is also reportedly in these newspapers. The influencer claimed that the sugar content in Vita is higher than what the product claims. Now, usually every company has to claim in the section which is called nutritional value, and they have to tell you how much content of each of the ingredients is available. Boycott Vita trend started on social media, and then reportedly Vita sent a legal notice to this influencer, and the influencer had to take down the video and then apologize for it. Vita then also issued a statement saying the sugar content is less than the daily recommendation, but activist bodies have now, in fact, they have now written to the FSSAI demanding certain regulations, that there should be regulations for these health drinks because they're also consumed by children as well as adults. Now, influencers have had a tough luck overall, all over the world. There is a problem that they face, but do remember influencers are extremely important as well. One is, of course, advertising, and the other is influencers on Instagram and other social media platforms. They may not be extremely well-known household names like your cinema stars, but they are extremely influential in the content that they make. They connect more with the consumers. Now, according to the Advertising Standard Council of India report, which was published in the Economic Times, it says 90% of the respondents in the study said that they used to make purchases by being influenced by the influencer endorsement, which is a more direct way of advertising, where they are being influenced. Consumers tend to look for guidance from voices they best connect with, and that may not necessarily be a superstar or someone who may charge lakhs and lakhs of rupees in advertisement. It could be someone just posting something on Instagram. 79% consumers said that they trust these social media influencers. Honesty and transparency stood out to be the key factors for these consumers, that they trusted the social media influencer more in their assessment than, say, for instance, a big cinema star or a celebrity. The study also believes that influencer marketing is a fluid and evolving space, and that is where the problem occurs, because now there are some guidelines on who can be an influencer. What can you say? We have seen that in the past also the government has stepped in and they have tried to hold these influencers accountable so that they don't end up endorsing a product which is not good, or are essentially saying something which is incorrect, which is not the reality. Now, for brands, influencers provide access to revenue potential. For brands, influencers are also providing access to engage with a wider audience. Now, under government guidelines, influencers must be transparent about paid promotions. They should be able to tell to their viewers that this is an advertisement and I have received money for this advertisement and it's a paid promotion. So you cannot couch it as your honest opinion. You will have to maintain that this is a paid promotion. Now, as far as sugar content is concerned, remember, these are health drinks which children drink. And since this is in the context of Vita, let's quickly tell you what is the ideal sugar content. The source of this is the content which is declared by the various products. So, ideal sugar content for children is 19 to 24 grams per day. And Vita claims according to their own nutritional record, that they have 37 grams per 100 gram. Now, obviously, you do not consume 100 grams of powder, right? It is always mixed with milk or mixed with water. So, per 100 grams, Milo claims, which is a Nestle product, 43.6 grams per 100 grams, Boost 35, Complan 29 and Horlicks at 14. Obviously, the consumption for a kid is 19 to 24 grams. So, we are not saying over here that on an average, a child is consuming 37 grams. I am making that distinction very clear. This is the nutritional value which is mentioned for every 100 grams consumed. So, if you consume 100 grams of Bonvita powder, then the sugar intake will be 37 grams. Now, there is a controversy that happened as far as brand Milo is concerned, and this happened in Malaysia. So, Malaysian entrepreneur's video on Milo went viral. The entrepreneur criticized Nestle for marketing Milo as healthy. The entrepreneur claimed that Milo is made up of 40% sugar. The video went viral, which led to protests against Milo in Malaysia. Nestle had to issue a statement in their defense, and they said that Milo has 6 grams of sugar per 200 ml of serving. You see, there is a difference between 100 gram, which is the nutritional value quoting which is done here in India, and also the 200 ml serving, which is the actual glass that you consume. So, Nestle then clarified that the sugar content is only 6 grams for a 200 ml of serving or a glass. Now, this is a report which has been published in the Business Standard. So, the big question that we are going to ask is, health food brands, are they indulging in unhealthy practices, and are they sugar coating the bitter truth? Because this is not the first time a controversy like this has happened. This keeps happening. We do keep hearing a lot of things about what brands market as health food, and yet the claim being very different in real life. A lot of doctors have also warned against this in the past. Dr. Arun Gupta is a nutrition advocacy in public interest or NAPI member. We have Manisha Kapoor, CEO of ASCI India, has written a very important and significant piece also very recently. Dr. Rajiv Seth, Senior Pediatrician, Medical Director of Child Health and Development Center, New Delhi. And Shashi Iyengar is a nutritionist. Thank you very much for joining us. Dr. Arun Gupta, I want to begin with you first and want to ask you, you see, there's a lot of conversation today about our liver also, right? It is said and often believed that all those people who want to replace their daily food, you know, their dal, roti, sabzi with nothing but powder in the name of health is a very wrong practice. So, more than health food branding themselves and thus, running in and being criticized, it is also a very psychological thing for people and consumers to give in to this advertising that you can replace your food with powder or these health brands.
Yeah, thank you, Sanket, for having me. You said it very right that these marketing actually creates a demand which is backed by huge money by these companies, and these products, the bitter truth in all these products is not just about sugar. These are all ultra processed foods. They are industrially produced. They contain not only sugar, they contain other food products which have been destroyed in their matrix, and they also had on like emulsifiers, stabilizers, other coloring agents and other flavoring agents to make them hyper palatable, means you just can't stop eating them. And that is also have been proved by science that for there was a randomized control trial on ultra processed food versus the diet, normal diverse diet, what you said. Then in 14 days time, the adults who were consuming ultra processed diet in this trial, they gained 1 kilogram, and they were over consuming calories because they were given only ultra processed foods or drinks or whatever the products are available, and after 14 days they were switched over to the normal diet, and they did lose that 1 kg which they had gained. So this is the pathway to obesity. This is the pathway to all non-communicable diseases, the moment consumption goes up, the disease pattern sets in. Like obesity is a precursor for diabetes, for cancers, for other things. And there is a science research available which says if you increase these ultra-processed foods or drinks products by 10% in your diet, for example, if you consume 2000 calories a day, if you have 200 calories from this diet every day, the chances of diabetes are going up by 15%. And several other evidences are available for the last 5 years. I think there are 1400 publications on risks of ultra-processed food, on health, on diabetes, cancers, depression, heart disease, and overall mortality. So this is a bitter truth about these foods. It's not just about how much only sugar is. So it's independent.
Yeah, sugar is one part of the problem.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Ms. Manisha Kapoor, before I go to the other doctors and nutritionists, I want to come to you now because a lot of this has to or stems from advertising. How you influence people to go ahead and buy these products. I know of a lot of people who decided to give up on food and only survive on powder as their main source of nutrition, that this will help in weight loss, and they receive moderate success also, right? But then doctors told all these people that don't do this, it's going to harm your liver, it's going to harm your kidney, it's going to harm your system, and all of them gave in to advertising. So do you feel this is a major problem that needs to be addressed?
Yeah, I think, the issue really is that in today's lives, I think processed food is very difficult to eliminate completely. And I think so long as, your base diet is healthy and you are having fruits and vegetables and, perhaps the traditional Indian food, which is considered one of the more balanced diets, I think a little bit of addition of what we would call, perhaps not very healthy products, I think, that is not something which even most doctors or dietitians or nutritionists have a problem with. I think the body can take that. I think, of course, if the diet predominantly becomes of foods that are not necessarily very good or are hyper processed or are the HFSS kind of foods that we talk about, then of course it becomes a problem. So there are guidelines which are in place. So FSSAI of course has several guidelines. It's the food regulator in India. In terms of our self-regulation, which is what ASCI does, we have some clear guidelines for food and beverages as well, and particularly when it comes to advertising to children, which is that, advertisements cannot undermine the role of a healthy diet and a balanced meal plan. It cannot, show that it cannot undermine the role of parental advice and care and, caregiving in terms of food. So, you cannot, for example, show that, a mother can't cook and therefore this is in, or, that it's actively replacing something that could be done at home, or, kids are having something even if the mother is telling them not to. So I think those are things that are in place in terms of guidelines. I think advertising on food is a sensitive issue. And again, I feel that it is not one or two products that are creeping into our diet, but an overall change in lifestyle that is causing this kind of concern. So, if 95% of my diet is healthy and I have an occasional, 5% which is indulgence of some sort.
Ms. Kapoor, see, the question that I wanted to ask was that if there is an advertisement which has seeped into your life because of, say, and we are not talking about traditional advertising, right? TV ad, 30-second commercial. We are talking about daily scrolling and swiping on the phone, on Instagram and other social media platforms, and people getting influenced at that level. Now, my point is, how do you control this? And if, say, someone were to expose, some influencer were to say that, no, this is not true, does heavy-handedness work?
So I think as long as the, so there are actually a couple of things in this, and, it may be a slightly technical point, but, a post becomes an advertisement if someone has paid for it, right? Otherwise, it is, in a sense, it's organic content. So I could speak, what I feel, but if someone has not paid me for it, technically, it's not an advertisement. And we've seen over the years, several, whether it's activists, whether it is nutritionists, etc., talk of healthy eating habits as well, right? So we would not consider those as advertisements unless they are paid. And similarly, I think for people who are, talking of specific products, etc., if it has not been paid by for someone, it becomes a piece of content. Now content, of course, also impacts our lives, so it's not just advertising, but as you said, when we are scrolling, we come across both advertisements but also just organic content. And you're absolutely right. I think this is a larger issue in terms of just the narratives around food that are in the public domain, be they from advertising, be that from lifestyle that, let's say, celebrities are following, be that, let's say, new age fads that come in. So there are actually several sources of influence, including advertisements. But I think, the problem, I think, happens when all of those messages kind of collide, and then there is a multiplier effect, and you're hearing the same thing from different sources, and you're seeing that. And also it's, I think, in terms of some of this food that you mentioned in terms of weight loss, it is also, I think, what are we considering to be aspirational in terms of body type or shape, etc., versus having an aspiration to be healthy. So I think these are also some of the larger contexts in the society that we stay in.
I think a lot of people just want to lose weight. Right? I don't think health is that way. Dr. Seth, do I have this right? A lot of people want to look for a shortcut कि थोड़ा सा weight कम हो जाए. Let's lose a few inches around the waist. As long as that happens, anything is fine. And I should not have to work very hard for it. And that's the vulnerability which is then exploited. Yeah, you've seen advertisements which say lose 10 kg without any exercise. That's the problem.
Absolutely. See, if you permit me, Saket, the
Sure,
advertisements are most misleading. They have one goal. They want to sell that product, and they want to reach out to consumers, whether the advertisements happen through social media, print media, wherever. See, very important is that consumer needs to be nutrient literacy is a word that I want to give you, that the consumer needs to have that literacy for reading the labels. So, for example, the front label will have one information which will give you how good the product is. The back label will actually have the ingredients, which are, so one should read the front label, the back label, and the back label may have some items which may not be there on the front label, but which equally important. See, most of these products have preservatives. They have additives. These additives, are they safe? We don't know. Right now, evidence-based research is lacking. Like doctor was saying, randomized control trials. How many randomized control trials have happened in our country vis-a-vis with one product with another? Tell me that. Randomized control trials just don't happen in this country as that often. And obesity is an epidemic happening in our country as we speak. Obesity is a case, a obese child is a case of malnutrition. When I was in training at All India Institute, I'm talking 44 years ago, we used to see children with kwashiorkor and marasmus. Marasmic means they didn't have enough to eat, they were sunken cheeks, and they would get all kinds of infections or die. Now we see children, even from wealthy and also not so well healthy, being obese. And the high consumption of junk food, which obviously is related to misleading advertisements. You see, junk food, all kinds of junk foods can lead to a habit which is bad. Not
but
just for
Dr.
a
Seth,
child,
here,
but entire life.
I'm sorry I'm making this distinction. Junk food, we know, may taste healthy. Not healthy. May taste good, taste yummy, but it is unhealthy.
Absolutely.
So we are aware of that. The problem is something which is being advertised as healthy and that not being healthy.
So,
yes.
So
I think that's the distinction that we're making.
Quite true. You're right. So the thing is that where is the evidence-based trial Where are the products have been there out there for 40, 50? We've grown up on Bonvita, but where is the evidence? Where is the evidence-based evidence that is the best product and it has what it claims?
Yeah.
Where is the research for that? That is
Correct.
what I'm asking.
Correct. So that study has to happen. And the last thing one would want is these big companies using money and muscle power to perhaps get people to take down videos that are unfavorable. Shashi Iyengar, I want to come to you now as a nutritionist. You see, there is this massive push by the government for millets. And to be honest, I have started consuming millets myself. Okay. It takes some getting used to, but we're trying to make it interesting. But the point is, what is actually healthy never gets marketed as that healthy product. And the sort of impact that unhealthy product and advertising around it has on people will always make sure that the healthy product will never make it to the table.
Yeah. See, that is the
Now,
muscle
how many
power
people
of
would like
advertisement.
consuming ragi roti? It's not something that you naturally do, right?
Yeah. So let us understand the power of advertisement. That people push through advertisement any product they want and any product we believe. So without any prejudice or bias, even in this topic which you are continuing, as Dr. Sheth has just told, where is the evidence? One. Secondly, if you really see, we take these drinks, how we take? We mix it in a glass of milk, and we will add some 1 or 2 teaspoons of sugar on top of it. So the amount of sugar actually goes up. This coupled with many other junk food which we take. Now let us understand the other factor. The childhood obesity rate is increasing not only in the world but even in India. In fact, one of the studies which was also published sometime back in Journal of Clinical and Experimental Hepatology actually told that 1 in 3 adult or children in India suffer from fatty liver disease. Now, how fatty liver happens? It is because of excess refined carbohydrate and excess sugar which goes in. So these products which were there earlier may have had time where they must have had some importance, maybe in the time of malnutrition. But in the present day, when we have excess energy and low nutrient intake, and I believe that a glass of full fat milk will be far better compared to all this processed food which you are having. So this
Sir,
is my view in face of rising diabetes in India.
Yeah.
And in fact, the news has come today that we have overtaken China also as in the population front.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the rise of diabetes, fatty liver, obesity, that too in children. Now let me tell you, I am seeing childhood diabetes also. Children as young as 10 are having an HbA1c of 5.7. Why is it? It is because of the excess processed food which you are taking, which I will include everything.
Correct. Yes. Somebody wanted to come in. Can we have everyone on screen, please?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to say about this ultra processed food. You see, we need to have a process why we give informed consent. You see, as doctors, when we talk about various procedures, medical procedures, we say informed consent, and then we ask somebody to sign before the procedure is operated upon. Similarly, the ultra processed food should be a process of informed consent where the consumer is made aware so that the consumer is able to make informed choices. Today, this is not happening, and I tell you, I work in the slums of Delhi and I work in aspirational district of Mewat, which has a malnutrition rate of 67% or 70%, anemia 90% of the children. But they have access to all the ultra processed foods, all kinds of kurkuras, masala wala, everything is available in Nukkad Dukane. And nobody is talking of home-based foods, which are still the food of choice. You see, if this process continues, we are going to land up in big problem not only in the proper health, growth, and development of these children,
Correct.
but emotional, mental health issues of these children.
Correct.
Because they won't touch anything else. What is nice, they do not know. Children
Yeah,
are
it's
innocent.
addictive. It's addictive. I mean,
It's
let's face it.
addictive.
It's
Absolutely.
addictive. But again,
They-
I come back to the point, Dr. Gupta, of something which is marketed as healthy. That have this is healthy, and that not being healthy.
Yeah. So I think that's the key point for any unhealthy foods. The problem lies, underlying problem of this whole controversy is that who defines what is healthy and what is unhealthy. There is no clear definition available from the government of India that this food is healthy. I think a criteria can be established that these foods are healthy, and government should inform people which are unhealthy. Now, if government had informed, for example, in this particular controversy, would the company sue government in that case? But the company chose to sue that young boy because that power, right?
Yeah.
So the marketing is a very important influence on people. And look at this particular area of the controversial product is these 5 rupee packets. These 5 rupee packets, these are available in the market, right? Who will actually ensure that they are dissolved in 200 ml of milk, whether these people who actually suffer from malnutrition, as Dr. was saying,
Correct.
whether they can afford to buy milk or not. So this is and secondly, the full page advertisements of this product in Times of India, millions of people see, and all that is influencing to buy these products, which is unhealthy. There lies the underlying problem.
Well said.
One is defining, and second is after defining, the solution lies in controlling the advertisement. The current laws are weak. They do not prevent all the unhealthy food advertising.
Let's just hope that this debate which is happening right now does not die down like it did in the past of pesticides in cold drinks or high amounts of MSG. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, in noodles, in ramen. All of that died down. I hope that this issue that people are raising does not die down. At least not till such time that we are able to find a solution. Thank you very much for joining us. Stopping for a short break at this moment. Be right back.